Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I am back with another G.I. Joe review. I know, after a rather long drought, I'm getting back into the swing of things. But that's basically because the Collectors Club figure subscription service has popped out in the first two shipments two of the figures I wanted. I think it's really the first time that's happened. And first figure was Law and Order, and here's that second figure, Barricade. Now, Barricade is an update from the early 90s. He's basically an urban commando, urban trooper. I would say the counterpoint to the Alley Viper, but whereas, Cobra had the Vipers were just the unnamed troopers, here we have a named guy. Now, also, one of the reasons I really wanted this figure might look a little familiar. And if it does, it might remember this late 80s television series and toy line called Captain Power. Now, for those of you unfamiliar, Captain Power was a series of 3 3/4-inch action figures and vehicles, as well as a live-action show that had an interactive compatibility with the toys. Using an infrared signal, you could basically play along with the show, shooting at vehicles and the enemy forces and being shot yourself. And then if the sensor picks it up correctly, you basically would get a zap and your figure would come flying out. There was a tank for the bad guys, a jet for the good guys, I think a couple other vehicles here and there, but Barricade is based on the look of the lead character, Captain Power, and I think that was kind of cool. The base mold is actually using, from the Rise of Cobra film, the reactive armor body. I was trying to figure out where it came from, and what was kind of cool is, if you took off the shoulder pads, this is what you got, even with the helmet. And it looks just so close and so cool, because really, if you had any of the Captain Power figures, it did have this design where you can see here in the hips and here in the elbows, that mesh underneath, that two-tone coloring. So I just think it's really cool. Now this one I think is the Duke mold, which I think was also Ripcord's mold too, but I'm saying Duke because of the included accessory here, which is a spring-loaded, supposed to be a spring-loaded battering ram. This was originally a grappling hook of sorts, and the club saw fit to not include the string, but there's a hole here, as well as a hole that goes through the top there, and this does work. I'm just pulling it off camera. You can just, very nice. It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure because of this nub, you can mount it into the pit playset. I know a lot of those spring-loaded weapons were like that. So we'll just pause real quick, and I'll give you a closer look of the figure. Okay, so like I mentioned, this is based on Captain Power, so you do have that nice gold armor. But what I really like, and I hope it's coming across well on the film, is there's this black wash all over it. So instead of having this shiny, brand new armor, this is a Barricade who's been around. This is a Barricade who's broken into homes, rescued some people, took out some Cobra troopers, blew down some doors, and I really like that. I'll be honest, I wasn't that big of a fan of the reactive armor figures, but I really like how this suit has been repurposed. Heck, I can even see this being used for an armored Cobra commander. The helmet here does open, so you can get a little bit of Barricade's head peeking through. The helmet is removable, and unfortunately, this is where we get into the point, our little issue. The helmet is very tight, and as you saw, it was a bit of a struggle. And this is my problem. As you can see, the hair here there is somewhat of an issue with him. Just the paint has kind of rubbed off or was not applied properly. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking inside the helmet. There's no rubbed off paint, but that is a little disappointing. And surprisingly, what's cool is this is the Chuckles head, so you do have that. Articulation is for the standard Rise of Cobra, so you don't have, enhanced ankle tilts or the wrist articulation. You have a ball-jointed head, universal shoulders, 90-degree bend at the elbow, very tight, I should mention. A little, unfortunately, it doesn't go all the way, but it's nice that they did put cuts in so the figure could bend. Ball-jointed hips, functional, double-jointed knees, again, very tight, but you do get like a nice extension. I mean, you can't fool around with it, bend the right joint. And you have your standard ankle pivot up, forward, and back. I should also mention that there is an additional piece of soft good here, which is this belt around with the holster to hold his laser gun, which is also, to keen eyes, the Shock Trooper tactical stun gun. So, yeah, all in all, a really cool figure. Now, let's take a look at the accessories. Okay, besides the accessories, I already showed off the spring-loaded battering ram and his little laser pistol. He does come with a few other things. First of all, you have this nice, I want to say it's like a sledgehammer, but actually more like an axe, like a tactical axe. I do like how you have on like a little serration there under the back. Really don't know which side is front or forward, but I guess maybe it's double-sided, but that's really kind of cool. You did see in the opening he does have this small machine gun. Unfortunately, the arms really can't do a good two-handed holding, but this is kind of nice to see included. I think this actually comes from the Rise of Cobra as well. At least the first I saw of it was the Mars Troopers. And then finally you have pretty good weapon for close quarters. This is the tactical shotgun, which we've seen in Rise of Cobra and the 25th anniversary line. One thing I should mention is both this gun and the machine gun were packaged in Barricade's hand. Now, usually, if you know me, you know one of my golden rules is you never ship a figure holding its weapon, because that can warp the hand and then make it utterly useless. Well, I should tell you that the hands are still quite tight, as you've seen, and you can hold the weapon quite nicely, so that's pretty much a good sign in terms of the quality of the plastic. Now, of course, I will not be storing this figure holding its weapons. Barricade is a fun figure. Now, I do want to mention that this hand has loosened up a little, and it's holding the hammer, axe, whatever, a little loosely, but as you can see, it's holding the shotgun quite nicely. I was even able to get the trigger finger into the slot. I did have to do a little bending. There might be some stressing of the plastic, but because it's very soft, I'm not really that concerned about it. Very nice figure. I'm really happy that it came out in the second wave. Hopefully now the third wave will have Bullhorn or somebody else I've got my eyes on, but it really is nice to see the figure subscription service going deep, especially on a character like Barricade. I really don't remember any cries from the Barricade fan community saying, "We want an update." Well, maybe they're not on the internet, so hopefully they know that their time has come. But definitely, I got this figure off of eBay. I know Big Bad will eventually be getting theirs in, as well as the G.I. Joe Collectors Club might have a few extras. So if you're interested, you might have to wait a couple months for this character to come in so you can pick it up. But this is your old pal Chuck for Barricade. We will see you next time.